Two people start with the same salary, same city, same company, same paycheck, same bank, same day every month. 10 years later, one of them is building real wealth. The other is still wondering where the money goes. 20 years later, one of them has options. The other has obligations. 30 years later, one retires on their terms. The other can't afford to stop working. Same starting line. Completely different finish. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't a trust fund or a brilliant idea. It wasn't connections or being in the right room. It was 10 quiet behaviors. 10 things that felt completely normal at the time. 10 decisions that looked harmless from the outside. That's the trap nobody warns you about. Financial struggle doesn't usually announce itself. It doesn't arrive with warning signs or obvious mistakes. It comes disguised as a Friday night out. It comes disguised as a new car that feels deserved. It comes disguised as a credit card with a low monthly minimum. And when everyone around you is doing the same thing, it feels normal. Normal is the most dangerous word in personal finance. By the time most people recognize these behaviors, years have already passed. Stay with this. Today we're exposing the 10 things keeping you poor. And not one of them is going to look the way you expect. Let's go. Number 1. Spending to feel rich instead of building to actually be rich. This is the first trap, and it's the most visible one. A new car sitting in the driveway. Fresh clothes every season. The restaurant everyone's tagging on a Saturday night. It looks like success. It signals success. It absolutely is not success. The average American spends over $1,500 a year on clothing alone. Most of that is worth a fraction of the price the moment it leaves the store. Here is the contrast that changes everything. One person spends money to look wealthy, the other invests it to become wealthy. 10 years later, you can see exactly who made which choice. Every dollar spent performing wealth is a dollar that cannot build it. Those two directions are in direct competition every single day. The people who actually built their wealth, not inherited it, built it, are notoriously difficult to identify by looking at them. They don't spend to signal. They build to compound. There's a real and permanent difference between looking wealthy and being wealthy. One empties accounts systematically. The other fills them. You already know which one wins. Number 2. Treating every raise like a permission slip to spend more. You put in the work. You got the raise. Rent ticks up. New car makes sense now. The subscriptions pile on. The dinners get nicer. This behavior is completely normal. It is also quietly destructive, because lifestyle inflation feels exactly like reward, while it dismantles your future. Here is the math, laid bare. You earn $5,000 more per year. You spend $4,800 more per year. Your actual financial progress is $200. That's not a raise. That's an illusion of progress wearing a raiser's clothes. The gap, what you earn minus what you spend, is the most important number in your financial life. Not your salary, not your portfolio value. The gap. Wealth builders protect that gap like it's the foundation of everything, because it is. Number 3. Keeping money in a savings account and calling it safe. Here's the reframe most people never hear. Saving money is smart, but saving alone is an incomplete strategy. And incomplete strategies have real costs that don't show up until it's too late. Inflation runs at roughly 3 to 4% annually. Most savings accounts return less than 1%. That means money sitting in savings is losing purchasing power every year it sits there. Quietly, invisibly, consistently. $100,000 in a savings account for 10 years doesn't hold its value. It shrinks while it sits there feeling safe. That is the invisible cost of comfort. The number on the screen looks the same, but what it can actually buy has quietly declined, year after year, without a single alarm going off. Saving is step one. Investing is step two. Most people stop at step one and wonder why they never get ahead. Cash is the tool, not the trophy. Number 4, carrying high-interest debt like it's just part of life. This one is normal. It is also one of the most destructive financial behaviors in existence, because most people carry consumer debt the same way they carry a phone, without thinking about what it costs them every single day. The average credit card in the United States carries an interest rate above 20% annually. 20%. Here is the identity challenge moment. If you are carrying a balance right now, you are paying for the past while trying to build the future, both at once, every month. That is a nearly impossible position to grow from. $5,000 on a credit card at 22% costs roughly $1,100 a year just to hold it. Not to buy anything, just to hold it. Now flip it. That same $5,000 invested in an index fund over 10 years grows to $13,000 or more. One direction costs you. The other builds you. Debt used for consumption is not leverage. It is a leak. And leaks compound just as surely as investments do. Number 5. Choosing entertainment over education every time. This isn't about being boring. This is about being honest about the ratio. In a few minutes, we'll get to the one that surprises people most. But first, this one. The average person spends over $3,000 a year on entertainment and subscriptions. That number alone isn't the issue. The issue is the hours. Busy people consume. Wealth builders study. That contrast compounds quietly over years and eventually becomes the gap between them. One skill learned this year could change your income trajectory. One certification. One framework mastered. One tool understood deeply enough to charge real money for. The people quietly building wealth treat their own development like a financial investment. Consistently, intentionally, with patience for long-term returns. You're not here because you want to be entertained. You think long-term. That's already a different mindset than most. Number 6. Making financial decisions based on emotion. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Markets drop 10%. Fear takes over. People sell. Markets run hot. Excitement takes over. People pour money in at the peak. This pattern has repeated itself across every market cycle in modern history. And every time, people believe this time is different. It isn't. The contrast is clean. Emotion is fast and loud. Good financial decisions are slow and quiet. The move is not to eliminate emotion. That's impossible. The move is to make the plan before emotion shows up. When markets dip, what will you do? Decide now. When a big opportunity appears, what criteria must it meet? Decide now. When emotion arrives, and it will, the plan is already made. You follow the plan, not the feeling. Discipline in the ordinary moments creates extraordinary outcomes over time. Wealth is behavior before it's a balance sheet. Number 7. Absorbing the financial thinking of the people closest to you. This is the one people resist the most, because it's not about intelligence or effort. It's about environment. If the people around you treat debt as completely normal, if the group normalizes spending beyond their means, if money conversations are always complaints or jokes about being broke, that environment shapes your baseline. Slowly, invisibly, powerfully, your financial behaviors track closely with your 5 closest relationships. Not because those people control you, because what surrounds you daily becomes what feels normal to you. Most people don't choose their financial environment. They inherit it, and they wonder for years why progress feels so hard. The solution isn't isolation. It's being intentional about what voices you let in most. The podcasts you choose, the channels you watch, the books on your shelf, the conversations you seek out. These inputs shape your financial identity more than most people realize. Protect that environment deliberately. Take a second here. Which of these 7 are already landing for you? Which one hit the closest to home? If this is resonating, you already belong here. This is the thinking. This is the standard. Hit like if you're taking notes. Subscribe if you want to keep building, because the next 3 are the ones most people never talk about. Number 8. Avoiding all risk and calling it wisdom. Playing it safe has a cost. Nobody talks about that clearly enough. The risk of never starting something. The risk of never negotiating for more. The risk of keeping money in accounts that can't outpace inflation for decades. These are all real risks. They just don't feel like risks because they're passive. Passive risk is still risk. It just doesn't feel urgent. It just bills you quietly, at the end, all at once. The person who never negotiated could have left hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table over a career. The person who never invested because it felt uncomfortable could have seen that money compound into something significant. The person who never started will never know what was possible. Calculated risk is how wealth accelerates. Not gambling, not recklessness. Research the downside, define what you can afford to lose, then move. You build quietly, but building requires movement. Number 9. Confusing being busy with actually being productive. Busy people work hard, sometimes incredibly hard. 70-hour weeks, always on. And some of them will work like that their entire lives and still not build real wealth. Because effort without leverage has a ceiling. Here is the contrast. Most people miss their entire career. Busy people trade time for money. Productive people build things that generate value without them. Those 2 paths look similar from the outside for years. Then one day, they don't look similar at all. One person has freedom. The other has a schedule that owns them. Productive people build systems, investments, a business with a team, skills that command rates that trading hours never could. It starts small. One process automated, one income stream added, one hire that frees up 10 hours a week. Busyness alone is not a strategy. Leverage is. Number 10. Waiting for the right time to start. The economy needs to settle. The market needs to correct. You need a little more saved up. The timing needs to be better. People have been using these phrases to delay starting for decades. And the compounding lost in that waiting never comes back. Someone who invests $200 a month, starting at 25, ends up with roughly 3 times more at 65 than someone who starts the same habit at 35. Not twice as much, 3 times. From a 10-year difference in start date. Not the amount. The timing. The right time is a myth sold to people who are already losing ground. Compounding rewards action. It punishes delay. And it doesn't negotiate. You build with what you have, where you are, right now. You don't wait for perfect. You start. If you want the deeper framework, the behavior map, the decision templates, the full breakdown, it lives inside Luxona Vault. Quiet. Structured. Built for the people who are serious about this. Wealth isn't loud. It never was. It's disciplined. It's intentional. It's built daily. Not in one dramatic moment. Not in one lucky break. In 10 quiet behaviors, practiced consistently, compounded over time. You already think differently than most people. That's why you found this. That's why you'll get there. Welcome to Luxona, where millionaires are made.